Last year and earlier this year, to be honest, I got really lucky and had a string of great thrift store finds. One of these finds was a Library of Congress C1 cassette machine, or rather, it was the Canadian version of the Library of Congress machine, a Telex C1, which is fundamentally the same exact thing outside of the cool light blue shell and lack of battery power. I think Telex made both of these machines. Kinda a side tangent, but I talked to an old Telex technician one time who told me that he worked on these machines. Both of them, the American and the Canadian one. Anyway, I was pretty happy to find this thing and had previously considered it one of my personal white wells. Seeing it on a shelf with a $5 price tag was unreal. I also had to do very little to it from a mechanical standpoint. Honestly, I just greased the thing. I've yet to even change the belts in it. I started using this machine for tape manipulation, and then one day was daydreaming about taking it to my local flood channel to get sorta national reverberation from the audio. That's when I knew I had to mod the machine to take batteries. Now, unlike the standard Library of Congress C1 machines that were made to operate on AC or a 7.2 volt battery, which is easy to swap for a 9 volt battery, but more on that later, the Canadian C1 is designed to operate on AC only. In fact, the whole unit is covered in warning stickers saying not to try and power with batteries. Of course, I had to be contrarian and mod my machine just to spite these stickers, so I started digging through its guts with a multimeter. Now, right off the bat, upon opening this machine, you'll see 3 PCBs. We really only care about 2 of them for this mod, with the power supply unit module being the one we care about the most. Unlike the American C1, the Canadian model has a full-wave rectifier and voltage regulator on its PSU board. Simplified, the AC mains voltage goes through the power transformer, then it's rectified by the packet-style full-wave rectifier, then it's filtered by large electrolytic capacitors, and sent to the input of a voltage regulator. The voltage regulator generates the 7 VDC that's required to run the machine. For this mod, we're going to tap into the output/ground rail of this power supply board. We're going to use a 9 volt battery, as all of the components on this PCB can easily handle 9 volts, and the extra 2 volts creates no legitimate problems. Why not just tap into the voltage regulator, I hear you saying? Well, it's pretty simple. The current draw from the voltage regulator is too high to be sufficient to get a decent lifespan from our battery. The AN7807 voltage regulator also requires a minimum input voltage of around 2 volts higher than its output. This means that once our battery falls below a certain point in its lifespan, we'll stop seeing an output at our voltage regulator, and nothing will see any power. Overall, the 7 volt versus 9 volt difference is negligible in my opinion. It's better from a longevity standpoint to tap into the output rail rather than the voltage regulator input rail. So with that out of the way, shown in this image is the backside of the PSU PCB. The point labeled Vout is the voltage output from the voltage regulator. The point labeled GND is ground. Tracing Vout, we can follow it to pin 11 on this other board, marked plus VCC in this image. This header is connected directly to the voltage regulator's output via the PSU header. We can feed the positive terminal of our battery to this point via a 9 volt connection header. The negative terminal from our battery is tied to the GND point on the PSU. There's many ways to set things up, but I got a simple DP-DT switch and wired things to switch between AC and battery input. I made it so when the switch is set to AC, the battery circuit is thrown open. When the switch is set to DC, the PSU/AC input is thrown open. I drilled a small hole in the back of my case and mounted this switch. I ran the battery header into the slot in the back that exists for the 7.2 volt battery and drilled mounting holes for a 9 volt battery clip. Ignore some of these holes in these photos, they're from another mod that I removed. Then I mounted the battery and connected it to the header. Everything works great. Take that, Canada. Here are some demo videos shot with a old-ass digital camera.
Thank you.